So it's looking like Lamar Jackson is going to take home, as we've all expected, his second MVP in his already very illustrious career. I know the one thing that we talked about that he does not have is obviously a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl appearance. But again, tremendous. He joins an elite group of quarterbacks. If this is the case, we'll join an elite group of MVPs to win the award twice.
It really is one of those things where obviously the season did not end how Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, or Ravens fans had hoped, but you still have to take time to appreciate what Lamar Jackson did, especially with everything in the offseason. I mean, he missed close to the final half of last year. He can't play in the playoffs. Then there's all the drama with the contract negotiations. He requests a trade. There's just nothing is going well in the offseason. And for him to turn it around after the contract extension and go and presumably win MVP, he does now, assuming it happens. He has 2 MVPs, and there are, I believe, it's less than 7 or 8 players have multiple MVPs, and it puts him in that spot where now you have to start thinking, is he not guaranteed, but is he a Hall of Famer? He's at that level where when you have 2 MVPs, there aren't guys that are missing the Hall of Fame with multiple MVPs.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is the conversation that we always go to, and we understand, and it goes by people look at, do you win Super Bowl titles? Are you good enough? Well, if you're making that case, was Dan Marino not a unbelievable quarterback when he was playing with the Dolphins? You can make this argument all you want, but it is so hard to win an MVP. To win 1 MVP, to win 2 or more, and I have the list that I'll explain at the end, but winning 2 or more, that's rare air. And a lot of those guys should be Hall of Famers. But guys, I think we got to take a step back here, Brad, reflecting on, of course, a disappointing end to the Ravens season, but it doesn't diminish anything that Lamar Jackson did this year.
Oh, absolutely not. And it's, again, we can pick apart Lamar Jackson's performance in the AFC Championship game all we want, but what I will say is that coaching had a lot to do with that, and not everything was on Lamar. We could actually make that argument about the Titans game as well back in 2019. So for me personally, I don't think that it's necessarily an indictment on whether Lamar can win rings or not. I think it's only a matter of time. And what did you say? That Dan Marino had two MVPs?
Dan Marino didn't even have 2 MVPs.
So my, I guess, question would be, and we probably should have been looking this up, or I should have looked this up, but has there ever been a 2-time MVP that didn't win a Super Bowl?
Well, so here's the thing, actually, looking at the list, and I actually wanted to get into, Kevin, I'll have the next question for you. Here are the list of quarterbacks, or sorry, not quarterbacks, multi-MVP winners, okay? Peyton Manning, good Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
5 MVPs.
5, insane. Aaron
Rodgers, 4. Going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Won a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning, Super Bowl. Tom Brady, obviously. 3. Obviously, he's won some rings. Jim Brown, 3 MVPs, right?
Yeah.
There's 1. Brett Favre, yes. Johnny Unitas with 3. Then Patrick Mahomes, Joe Montana, Kurt Warner, Steve Young. So when you're looking at that list, only one of those multi-MVPs did not win a Super Bowl or championship, right? So it is an interesting question.
Yeah.
But of that list, I just listed off 10 names, 10 players in the history of the NFL.
All Hall of Famers
are going in. Exactly. So kind of leads to it. And this to Kevin, I wanted to point this out I want you to tie this in. Lamar is only 27 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's the impressive part with a lot of these guys winning their MVPs. Aaron Rodgers won 2 in a row in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson has 2, and he hasn't even played his 27th.
Just Jim Brown and the Browns won the championship in 1964 when it wasn't the Super Bowl.
Okay, so good to clarify.
So nobody who's won multiple MVPs and has never won a Super Bowl and got in, but yeah, so nobody who has won multiple MVPs has also gone ringless. So even Jim Brown had 1 championship in his Browns days.
So, and that was the last time for Cleveland, right?
Right.
I think that was the last time. Yep. So on that case, though, Kevin, Lamar Jackson's still only 27 years old.
Yeah.
And there's still so much time where he could have more MVPs and very well could have a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think, he's already built up such a legacy already where, even without a Super Bowl, you got to acknowledge what he's done, the franchise records, NFL records, everything. And with that, he's been, the past 2 seasons, not this one, but 2022 and 2021, he got injured. And he started 3 full seasons. He started 3 years as an NFL quarterback and played through those years healthy, 2019, 2020, and 2023. He's won the MVP, and, assuming he wins it tonight, which he's going to, he's won the MVP in 2 of those 3 seasons. So this was year 1 of Todd Monken's offense, year 1 of getting guys around him, like Odell Beckham, etc. And I think that the sky is still the limit for Lamar. Not that he isn't already one of the best quarterbacks in this league, because he is, but it's kind of scary to think about the year that he had, how locked in he looked, how poised he was. It wasn't a perfect year for him, but I'm excited to see what he can do. Is, we kind of get into what Lamar's going to look like in his later 20s, his earlier 30s. Because I think with Baltimore, as long as you have Lamar, you have a chance. And that speaks to how good he is and how he is one of the game-changing quarterbacks in this league. So I think that you can work this offseason if you're Lamar, continue to get better. I know for a lot of people, the deep ball accuracy is one thing that was actually kind of fine. It wasn't like perfect for him at the start of his career, but it was all right. And it's kind of taken a dive these past couple of seasons. So you get that on track. You're able to hit on some of those more. Whoever's going to be his receivers next season, I don't know who it's going to be. Get Mark Andrews fully back healthy and Isaiah Likely, everything there. So I think even if you bring back an Odell, maybe, I know it was kind of like a weird topic of like, oh, well, does the contract match up with what he was producing? And I know Odell had a spicy tweet on that earlier today. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see how Lamar takes another step, because he's already taken so many.
Do you know how many NFL records Lamar Jackson owns already? 15 NFL records. Now, I will give it, some of these are very ESPN ticky-tacky, most wins before the age of 25, but it goes and it proves that Lamar Jackson, when he plays, he is one of the most dominant players in the league.
Yeah, and so you're talking about dominant players, and we're talking about winning. That's the other part. The Ravens haven't won the big, quote-unquote, game to get to the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, not a lot of quarterbacks win more than Lamar Jackson, not just since he's entered the league, which he has the second most wins since he's entered the league, but win percentage in NFL history right now, because I just looked it up. There are 3 people on there that don't even have headshots. Lamar Jackson, Autogram is the number 1 as far as win percentage, has an 813 win percentage. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes. And on this list, Tom Brady is 4 at 749. Lamar Jackson sits 6th all-time right now in win percentage, winning over 72% of his games. So if we put that in context of it, Lamar Jackson is still doing some incredible things. Now, again, those numbers can change over the years, but a lot of good things that can come his way nonetheless, period.